First, really excited. The biggest thing whenever you're having these spring games and you're going live, of course not with the quarterbacks, it's your last practice and you're making sure, like, please come out healthy, and make sure everybody that came in walks out of here in good shape, and we did. We were really healthy. I was proud of both sides of the ball. I think some coaches that were here before might have been disappointed, but you got to remember I'm a defensive head coach, and those turnovers were really nice. I don't want to do that against anybody else, but it was good to see the defense. Y'all are going to get to talk to a couple of them, I think, but I thought CJ Baskerville really showed up today. Number 9 at safety. I thought Rabbit did a really good job and was excited. And then at the end, the offense ended up winning the red zone lockout. Probably did a little bit more tempo in that period that helped them. And, I thought Taj and Cam got behind their pads and ran the ball. So I was excited to see those guys. Sometimes the coaches both get frustrated because, I tell them, hey, we just need to come out, line up, and play. And so it takes some of the things away of some of the things that we would do normally in a game. But we got better today, so I was excited about that. So with that, I will, any questions?
So who are some of the young players that you wanted to see and they showed up and did exactly what you wanted?
The one guy, more than one, but the guy that's really impressed me this year is, or this spring, is B.J. Jordan. Number 27, he's the other star that's backing up, or was with the twos with CJ. I thought he tackled well. I thought he did a good job in coverage. And again, we call them the triplets, Jordan Sanford and Chapman Lewis. All three of them had plays in the game to where they got the ball down and made the offense take snaps. And so I was impressed with those guys, with those young guys. And it was good to see like a guy that's going to be a redshirt freshman, Ty Khanna, come up with a big interception off a tip ball in the red zone. And so that's what you want. You want those young guys to keep growing. So I was really impressed with those guys.
Coach, you mentioned CJ. Could you go a little bit more in depth, I guess? What specifically did he do that allowed him to be so good to get today?
Well, we didn't do as much. Muddy led the nation in tackles for a loss as a defensive back. And so that position is so critical in our defense because we're going to do so much with him. But I thought today he did a phenomenal job in coverage. He made a big tackle here in the red zone. Then the next play was the interception. But I thought he did a good job in coverage because he's on slots, and we've got one of the best slots in the country in Miles Price. And there were a couple of times that the ball was thrown that way, and CJ was in perfect position. Really, really smart football player. He's physical. He's 6'2", probably 215 pounds, and he's going to have a great year for us.
That last quarter, we got to see Jake Strong really for the first time. What impressed you out of him, and what do you want to see him maybe continue to grow on being a freshman?
I thought he did a good job throwing the ball. There was a couple times that, he handed it off that he should have pulled it, and, we had an RPO with it. But I thought he did a good job. He's got a really good grasp of the offense. Kitley did just some comparisons last year of this spring and last spring, and, how many sacks we'd given up, the percentages. And, with Jake at the time, I was like, man, where are we at? And he had a great percentage comparing to last year. It was just that Tyler and Barron have also gotten so much better, their percentage-wise, completion-wise, that, you're like kind of wondering where he was at. He did a really good job, and I think he's got a good grasp of the offense.
What have you seen from Loic Fouonji this spring?
Yeah, it's good to have him back. If you look at Loic, once he got totally healthy at the end of the year, he had 2 huge games with OU and Ole Miss. And so, you saw him have a really good second half of the spring once he got back from his hamstring and, caught the ball well. And you see what he can do whenever you can throw the ball deep. He can really run, and that was a big touchdown for us today.
Coach, how have the kickers looked spring, and where's the competition at coming out?
Yeah, I feel Gino like we're getting ready to, kick a field goal that we needed. Like last week in red zone lockout, he hit a 50-yarder to win it. And so I feel great, with him with field goals. Of course, Mac punting. And then, I'm proud of Brooks. He's done a really good job backing him up punting. The thing that we've really got to focus on in this summer, if it's in the kicking game, is our kickoffs. We are still not consistently putting the ball in the end zone, and that's a big part of, you don't want balls returned, and right now we're not there. So that's going to be a big focus this summer.
Coach, I know you haven't watched film yet, but on the Tyler Shuck second interception, what did you see on that? Was that a bad decision on his part, or was that just a great?
No, it was a tip ball. We had, I think, two of the interceptions. I think CJ's interception and Ty Connor's interception were both off of tip balls. I'm anxious to see who it is, because a guy that has had a really good spring is Blake Burris. And I don't know if he was out there, but he has a knack for tipping balls at the line of scrimmage. I mean, I bet he's tipped 12 to 15 just this spring alone. And so both of them were tip balls. It wasn't, like a clean throwing to a defensive player.
Coach, going back to that Ty Conner interception, it was fresh after a penalty.
Yeah.
And something that we saw plenty, especially towards the tail end of the season last year, is that the red zone defense really stepped up in those times of adversity. Fresh after allowing a first down off the penalty and then getting that interception. What does that say about the resilience, once again, of this defense, even back down here towards the end zone?
Well, we're all about what's next. You can't let the last play affect the next play, whether it's good or bad. And that's what, I addressed at the end when we talked. The last thing I said was, man, I'm really proud, because there was some moments in the game that we had a good play or a bad play, and we were really able to get to what's next. That shows the maturity of the team, that they can play the next play, and it says a lot about that. I thought that was a huge moment in the game of what the defense, and that's the thing. I think it's one reason we do so much red zone lockout. It's good for both sides of the ball. Possibly the reason we won 3 overtime games is because whenever we get down here, we can feel comfortable and feel like we can play really well inside the 20.
Coach, there was a report yesterday that the NCAA is planning on having stopping the running clock rather for first down. Just want to get your thoughts on that rule change and how it might affect how you guys prepare.
It won't change anything. We're going to be a tempo team, and usually we're tempoing off of first down like a lot of tempo teams are. So we'll just get lined up, and when they put that ball in play, we'll be ready to go. The reasoning behind that is you're fixed to expand the playoffs next year in 2024, and so the study right now is the impacts that the players are taking through that a little bit longer of a season. And so to take 7 to 10 plays out of the game and just, you string it out the entire year, you're going to take some plays off of these guys. I thought Kirby Smart, though, did a good job of explaining, because one of the rules that was brought up, and I'm glad it didn't pass because it would have totally changed the game, but there was a point that they were actually talking about not stopping the clock on an incomplete pass. And, it's one thing, now we're playing like the NFL, but it's another thing totally changing the game, and I was really against that. And because Kirby was like, you really don't know how many impacts, because if you're up on somebody, your 2s and 3s are playing, so you can't count impacts on your 1s in that game. It can't be just that. So I think it was the best of both worlds to take some off of these guys.
Coach, how good do you think Ty's going to be this year?
Where I think we're really going to see, and this is, I think Taj can have a great year. I think you're going to see a guy that's in phenomenal shape. He's done a good job this spring of kind of changing his body and keeping the weight that he needs. But the other thing, I think you're going to see a change up back in Cameron to where it's different. And so, I've said a lot, man, we had 2 really good backs last year, but they're kind of the same in SaRodorick and Taj. And Cam's not. He's a one-cut vertical runner. And so I think it's going to give defensive problems, and it's going to help both of them, because you're not going to tackle the same guy the entire game.
Joey, when did Jaden Morris and Cooper Lefevre switch to the positions they were at today?
They've kind of taken reps everywhere this spring. Jaden the most. Cooper has gotten some reps here lately, but Jaden has taken reps everywhere this spring, because you go back to, we feel that we've got a good quarterback in Jake Strong, and so we're not going to take any reps off of Barron and Tyler, and we want to give Jake every opportunity to learn the offense. And so when you got 5 quarterbacks, to get those reps, you kind of move guys around to make sure that you could practice the way we want to practice. We spent, out of the 5 weeks, we probably spent 4 weeks having 2 practices going on at once, and that people have to do different things to allow us to do that.
Was Robert Wooten playing tackle today just because
Yeah.
of the bodies?
No, we moved him there. at the start of the spring. Yeah, I think he can help us there. He's really strong. The one thing he's going to be able to help us possibly there is having a better pass rush whenever it comes to interior guys, because he is, you know, a little bit more twitchy than some of the other guys besides the two starters.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right.